All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, Kenny Ellis, the trainer of Gervonta Davis, speaks out about the Jake Paul fight and issues a very, very, very good warning to Jake Paul. In the words that height don't fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and I am trying to get excited for the Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul fight that will be taking place. I do believe it'll be in November, around November 13th, or on Friday, November 13th, I think, or Friday, November 14th. And that fight is going to be in Miami. So it should be a fun event. Don't know if I'm going to be able to get out there to do it. Kind of want to do it. But in this particular video, we're going to talk about the fight itself, because after the press conference, the first press conference that took place, there's a lot of people that are talking about this fight, and they're talking about it as if it is an actual fight, not an exhibition, but a real fight that is going to have a real outcome that really does matter. There's going to be, it's a 10-round fight, 3-minute rounds, just like regular boxing match. I do believe they're using 12-ounce gloves, so they're going to be using the bigger gloves, and it's going to be 10 rounds. That's a real fight. So of course, people are looking at it and saying, okay, well, you have a guy that's probably going to walk in the ring at over 200 pounds, 205 pounds, something like that. And you have Gervonta Davis, who really is the most he's going to walk into that ring is weighing at like 140 pounds, 144 pounds. So you're looking at a gigantic size difference. At the same time, though, Kenny Ellis makes a point that I think is very, very apt, which is that height don't fight. And this is something that he has said before the Mario Barrios fight. It's something that he said before Gervonta Davis fought Ryan Garcia. He said, height don't fight. So pretty much, and this is what Gervonta Davis also said when he was being interviewed about Jake Paul. And he said, look, man, his reach ain't that much longer than mine. And he's kind of look at him like, yeah, I'm going to get up in here, I'm going to whoop this dude. But what does it mean that height does not fight? Height doesn't fight means that shorter guys absolutely positively have the ability to counteract taller fighters by getting on the inside, by slipping shots, countering shots. And the biggest thing that is going to be a problem for Jake Paul is going to be his exhaustion. Over the course of those 10 rounds, if Gervonta Davis is moving and making Jake Paul miss a bunch of shots, Jake Paul is going to wind up getting tired, and he's going to wind up breaking down. And those shots to the body, even with those smaller gloves, with somebody like Gervonta can still hurt you very, very badly. So, like, for me, I'm looking at this fight like Jake Paul thinks it's a joke. He's acting like it's a joke. He's playing it like he's a joke. But he needs to be really, really careful, man, because Gervonta Davis is not just, that's not Nate Jones. I mean, Nate, what's my guy's, Nate, that used to play for the NBA basketball player that Jake Paul had fought, Nate Robinson. This ain't Nate Robinson, okay? This, by the way, it ain't Anderson Silva, okay? This is a guy that is in his prime and a real fighter, bro, who has been in real fights on point in boxing. And he's not going to take a dive. Only risk that there is, I see in this stuff for people to get taken advantage of, is if these guys already just have the whole thing scripted and they know how they're going to do it. But if Jake Paul thinks that it is going to be real easy to punch below your knees with these little dudes, man, no. I'm telling you, man. And the quickness and speed issue for Jake Paul is going to be a tremendous problem, man. But, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Again, height don't fight. The way Jake Paul is acting is really making me root for this dude to get hurt. You know, and I don't believe Jake Paul is going to make it to a fight with Canelo Alvarez or a wrestling match with Alexander Usyk, because he's probably going to get beat up by this little dude from Baltimore, especially if this guy gets a bad attitude. And one of the things that Gervonta said when he warned Jalen Love, said, man, if I find anything funny, if you guys are doing anything funny, believe me, I'm coming for you. Which probably means, look, dude, if you get cute, I'm going to fight this guy for real. I'm going to hit this dude with shit for real. And I'm telling you, man, that Gervonta Davis is already probably beaten up guys the size of Jake Paul that are better fighters than Jake Paul. I don't believe in Jake Paul as a fighter. I believe him as a hype man for sure. I definitely believe that he has the ability to sell a fight, but I don't believe that he is a competitive, real, serious boxing fighter. And he should be very, very careful in these next couple of fights that he's doing, man. A lot of people thought that Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake and not really going at Jake and not really trying to get at him. Man, if Jake Paul keeps playing around with somebody like Gervonta who doesn't have every screw in his head tightly, all the way there tight, man, be very, very careful. Now, on some other related news, though, and this is something I wouldn't do a video about, but I definitely want to talk about it. Man, shout out to Anthony Joshua for going to Ghana. My understanding is that he is going to break his cycle of fighting in rehab season and in fighting in Wembley Stadium, and he is going to actually go and fight in Accra, Ghana. Man, shout out to AJ for doing that one. And also you have Deontay Wilder, who's doing face-offs with Andy Ruiz. So I'm hoping that those three, and I know that that's not at the top of the heavyweight division, but man, having Deontay Wilder fight Andy Ruiz, I think, would be terrific for American boxing. I would love to go to that fight, pay for that fight, however they get that fight done. And if AJ will eventually, grow some cojones and fight Deontay Wilder, man, it could be a very, very sweet end to a very, very awkward chapter in the heavyweight division. That there's a lot of people that were, selling all of these heavyweights coming out of the UK, and none of those guys panned out. They wound up having championships when they were fighting each other, but as soon as they ran into Alexander Usyk, who was basically a blown up cruiserweight, they went. So one of the matches during that time that never took place was the Deontay Wilder-Anthony Joshua fight, and I am still pushing, still plugging for those guys to do that fight, man. So anyway, man, it's a lot of really good things going on in boxing. The undercard for the Gervonta Davis fight with Jake Paul is actually a pretty decent undercard. It seems like they're going to be very heavy on female boxing, and they're going to have a lot of PBC fighters on the card. So you have in the co-main, you have Alyssa Baumgardner, but in the fight before that, you have Gary Antoine Russell, who's going to be fighting Andy Hiroka from Japan. So all in all, good stuff. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.